Oh, thank you for coming to see me again. I am Chef Marcee, and today we're going to do 3 different versions of a classic French dish called Eggs Benedict. So let me give you guys a little one-on-one right now because I have a lot of things going on in my little area of the world. So in my first pan, I have a cast iron grill pan. So I'm going to use that for my vegetarian style with the graffiti eggplant and the portobello mushrooms. I have my my goodness, what is it called? Oh, I got my back pot on with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and I have the lid on so it can start coming up to a boil. I have this roasting pan for my bacon that I'm going to roast in the oven with the honey chili glaze, and I have this little skillet for my seared ham. So I'm going to start with making the eggplant. So this is the graffiti eggplant, and it's graffiti because of the species of the eggplant and also the little signs and the little, things on there. So we're going to cut the top off. I have my little compost, but I don't think I'm going to have a lot of compost today. I'm not nearly doing as much cutting as I usually do. So I'm going to keep the pieces pretty whole and pretty big. Because once they grill, I want them to still have the big shape in it, and I want them to be very present. So the stray flavor can be very strong. So this is probably about a ½ inch thick. We're not going to be using all of this, but I'm going to show you guys just how to season it. Even if you guys wanted to make a roasted vegetable, sandwich or something, this is the same method you guys can use to roast any vegetable. So I have my eggplant in. Set these little babies to the side, the ones that we're not going to use. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, and my normal herb mix that I like to use. And I have a little bit of black lava salt. So we're going to toss this around. Flip it all up. Get everybody evenly coated. Everybody all happy. Now the thing about eggplant, it definitely absorbs the oil very, very quickly. So you have to be careful. So this is what they're going to look like. Nice and seasoned. Looking all happy and gorgeous. Now, in the aspect of the portobello mushroom, we're going to pull out the stem. And you see all this little hairy stuff in the inside? It doesn't look good when you cook it. So we want to take a spoon and we want to scrape all that out. Be careful because you can tear up the mushroom a little bit, but it's still edible even if it's a little cracked or a little, shattered or whatever. So you can still use it. Because when you cook with these little brown bits in there, it doesn't look too good. It gets all black and all dark and a little bit of ugly looking. Not very edible. And I think these are called the gills too when they're in mushrooms. So the first one, we took them out. That's what they look like. So we're going to keep them whole. And I'm going to use just one, but I'm going to show you guys how to season them again in case you wanted to make roasted portobello mushrooms for anything. If you wanted a portobello mushroom burger, you have so many options in which you can do the portobello mushroom. So they call it the meat of the protein for the vegetarians. So that's what they look like. I'm going to put my compost to the side. Clean up my board a little. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the eggplant. A little bit of olive oil. Now the portobello mushroom caps will do the same thing that the eggplant does, so it will absorb all the liquid. So we have some salt, a little bit of our herb mix, and a little bit of the lava salt. And anyone that's watched my show before knows all about the lava salt. Now we're going to get them all nice and shiny and glistening. So once we have that, we're going to take to our cast iron grill pan. So my pan has been heating up for a really long time, and you want to make sure it's nice and hot. So I'm going to turn the temperature up a little bit more. And I have my oven on 400 to finish roasting. So I'm going to take the portobello caps, I'm going to place them inside so you guys can hear that little bit of sear that's happening. And I'm going to place the eggplant inside too. Okay, so once you have that all inside, you can let them kind of start getting some grill marks on there. And I'm going to clean up a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys how to make oven cooked bacon. I like cooking my bacon in the oven. I don't really care for frying it on the stove. It makes too much of a mess. There's bacon grease splattering everywhere. It's all kinds of nonsense and shenanigans being carried on. So I have some bacon. I bought this from the deli side of the market. I didn't buy pre-packaged bacon because I wanted it a certain thickness. So I have my bacon. We're going to lay them out on my rack. Now I have the rack in there because I want the bacon grease to fall separate from the bacon. I don't want it to swim in the grease. So I have 3 nice thick pieces of pork bacon, and everybody knows that's the belly. So with my pork bacon, I'm going to spread them out a little bit. With my pork bacon, I'm going to add just a little bit of agave because I want it to be sweet and spicy all at the same time. So I have a little bit of agave. I'm going to just drizzle it on. Now this is a good fun way to do bacon, just to kind of change up the flavors. So once you have them all a little drizzled with the agave, which is our sweetener, I'm going to add a little bit of chili powder. So you can add as much as you like. It just depends on how spicy you like it. Okay. So once we have that all nicely sweet and spicy looking, I'm going to open my oven. Now I have like again I told you my oven is on 400 degrees. So I'm going to place the bacon on the bottom rack. And I'm going to get my towel and grab the cast iron because this is really hot, so even the handle gets hot. And I'm going to take my cast iron grill pan, place that on the top, and close the oven, and bring my little counter back. So I have my little small skillet going on, so I'm going to start doing my ham. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Now when I went to the deli section of the market for the ham, I asked them to cut me like a thick 2-inch piece so I can cut it down as I see fit. So this is just regular old deli ham, nothing special, but we're going to make it really special. And I'm also going to place my pan on the flame for my spinach. Put the flame on. I'm going to have that pan on low so it can be heating up the whole time we're talking and I'm cooking. So I had the deli department at the supermarket cut me like a 2-inch slice of regular, I guess, domestic ham. I guess that's what this is called. So I'm going to cut it down the middle. And then I'm going to square it off a little bit too. I just want it to look good. To look good. So once I have a block like this, I'm going to cut it into probably like this big, this thick. So I'm going to slice it. Piece of ham. Isn't it awesome? Okay. So I'm going to take my 2 pieces of ham, and I have my cast iron little skillet on like medium high, something like that. And every once in a while you guys need to remember to tell me to smile so you can see how gorgeous it is. I do like this. Even though my face might not always show it, I do like it. So we're going to put our ham slices. Make sure our oil is nice and hot. We got some waves and riveting. Because we want this to sear, not to boil. Sear, sear, sear. We want to be all nice and brown and crispy. So you hear that? That's what we're going for. You hear it? Did you hear it? That's the sound we want. So I'm going to put 2 pieces in here. And occasionally I wipe my stove from all the splattering of the oil. So in my pan I have a little bit of olive oil that I'm about to add. And I'm going to add my spinach. Spinach, spinach, spinach. So as everyone knows, you can have a gigantic bowl of spinach and it will cook down to a little bit. So my pan is nice and hot. I'm going to turn the flame up just a little bit because it hasn't really been that long. And make sure it's nice and hot. I'm going to move up my moving kitchen a little. Take my ham to the background. Move this pan around. Add spinach. I'm going to add the spinach. And in a matter of 3 or 4 minutes, it will be completely wilted down. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And I'm going to turn over my ham pieces. I have a fish spatula, but I think I will grab my tongs, my handy dandy utensil. It's one of my favorites. So we have some browning coming, but we wanted to get a little bit more brown. So I can get a nice little crust on it. So, spinach is starting to wilt. Now I have some whole grain English muffins for our French style egg Benedict, but we're doing more of a modern touch on it. So we're going to do, this is my time, sorry, to give you guys a little bit of info on what we're about to accomplish today. So, I have whole wheat English muffins. So we're going to do a few different versions of the classical style of egg Benedict. We're going to do one with our luscious chili glazed ham. We're going to do one with our spinach, roasted portobello mushrooms, and roasted eggplant. And smile. And then we're going to do one with the agave glazed bacon and poached egg. We're also going to do the vegetarian one with fried tofu for all my vegetarian people out there. So, next thing we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of info on our poaching liquid. Because this is one of the most important parts. So in here, I have it filled up to probably about the line with water. And I have some apple cider vinegar. That's the vinegar that I choose because I like it to be a little sweet and a little bit tangy. But you can use white vinegar, you can use red wine vinegar, you can use whatever your little hearts desire. Okay? So I'm going to check on my ham again. Take a look. Oh yeah, now we're making some progress. Now we're making some progress. And I'm going to move our spinach around. So that big old bowl, oh, it's not really a big bowl. That medium bowl of spinach that I had, wilted down to this little bitty baby amount of spinach. And anytime it falls back out, drop it back in there. Okay? So, I'm going to turn the flame down on my spinach. And I'm going to add a little bit of honey to my ham, and I'm going to turn this flame off too. Okay? So I'm going to add my agave. Oh, did I just call it honey? I meant to say guave. Excuse me for the language of not speaking correctly. I added my guave. So you see we have some bubbling too. I'm going to add a little bit of my chili. And a tad, and I mean a tad bit of salt, because ham is already salty. And I mean, ooh, that's it. It's all the salt you need because ham is salty. So, I'm going to open my oven. And inside my oven, we have our bacon going, we have our grilled vegetables going, and I'm going to add the ham right to it. Okay? Take a break, because I thought. Okay, so while I took my little TV break, I had a chance to clean my knife, clean my board, and clean the utensils I was using for the ham. So everybody don't like to be, you know, cross-contamination. We need you guys not to be sick, so you can come watch my channel every week and make sure everything's just clean and very, you know, kosher for everyone else that's choosing to eat. So I washed my board, a little bit of bleach, a little bit of dishwashing liquid, a green scrubbing. Same thing goes for my knife, and same thing goes for the spoon that I was using. So now I have a new spoon, which is my Old Faithful. It's my favorite one. So I'm going to show you guys how to fry tofu. So I have my pan on medium high. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. And I have extra firm tofu because I just like the way it kind of holds up better. So I cut the tofu brick in half. Okay. So I am going to cut it in half again. Okay. So that way I can have two usable pieces of tofu that I can manage. There we go. Okay. So tofu is definitely very soft, so definitely be careful with the way you hold it and make sure you don't, you know, beat the poor tofu up. So I have a little bit of olive oil in here, like I said before, and I'm going to smile and make sure my pan is nice and hot. So you can always tell how hot a pan is. You can just throw something really small in to see what happens. Oh, since it's sitting and it's kind of taking forever to fry, my oil is not really hot. So while we're waiting for my oil to get hot, I'm going to talk to you guys about the pan of water I have sitting in the back. So on my next segment, I'm going to show you guys how to do hollandaise sauce, which is one of the 5 classical mother sauces. And it takes egg yolk, lemon, and a little bit of clarified butter. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Now, this would be a method of which making your arm and your muscles really, really, really strong, because you have to, you know, whip it and add the air and get it nice and soft and creamy. And the most important part, to not scramble the egg yolk. That is the most important part. So I think our oil should be ready. So I'm going to add our tofu. And this is just regular tofu. You hear that? Woohoo! Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Have a little bit of salt on there. So my tofu is frying. Now my water that I told you guys is for my poached egg is boiling, 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 boiling away. Okay? So I have some eggs back here. Move all this junk out the way. So a lot of times when you make poached egg, a lot of people tell you to put the eggs inside another container, so in case you get a bad egg, a bad egg or an egg with a little bit of blood clot in it, you know, just to make sure that you don't contaminate your whole gallon of water. So I'm going to use this one as my egg poacher spooner thing because it has a little handle and plus it's a little heavier and I feel like I can control it more. But you can also use a teacup, a mug. It just depends on what makes you the most comfortable. So I'm going to turn the flame up a little bit on my poaching liquid. And I'm going to crack my egg. And you can do one at a time. Crack my egg. It's all nice and clear and fresh and whole and not runny. So, now this is what we call the vortex in the culinary world. So you can kind of spin the water and you'll get kind of like a vortex of water happening. And once you have that, you can just slide the egg in. And you see what happens to the egg? It automatically kind of starts cooking and the whites start to oh my goodness, I can't even get the word out. The whites start coming together. So you see what's happening? I'm going to show you guys 3 more times. And while before I show you that, I'm going to take a look at our tofu. I'm going to turn my flame down a little bit. Now I'm going to use my fish spatula on this, the same one I use for my spinach, to make sure that I don't kind of beat the poor tofu up. We have a little bit of sticking, so this is where you kind of just really, really nice. Really nice. Say please. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. It wasn't nice to me. Not at all. It wasn't nice to me at all. Not at all. So, I gotta fix that. So I'm gonna turn my flame down. And I'm gonna drop another egg, and then I'm gonna fix my tofu. So since I'm making 4 different kinds of eggs Benedict, I'm gonna do one at a time. So, I have my second egg. So you see how my first egg already lifted up because it's already cooking? So I'm having my second egg drop in there. And you see immediately it starts to come right on together. Egg number 3. All my shells are going into my compost. So if it slows down, we can just kind of move it around a little bit. And we want to make sure everybody in here stays an individual. They do not become a couple. We're not looking for any couples with our eggs. So I'm going to drop my 3rd egg. Voila. And we got to move this baby around. Make sure that she doesn't stick to the bottom. And make sure that she doesn't stick to anybody else. This is egg number 4. And we're going to drop that right in here. So see, all 3 are being an individual. Nobody's being a couple or wanting to join a family. So I'm going to drop that in there right now and move that on around. Okay, so we're back again. I'm going to give you guys a little update. I had multiple disasters going on here. So let me show you how to fix it. If you take your tofu and you put it directly in the pan and it sticks, you will have a disaster. That's what I had, was a disaster. So we're going to coat the tofu in a little bit of cornstarch. Okay? So while I'm coating this in the cornstarch and the tofu together, I have my pan on medium-high. So put that in there, get it all nice and coated. Okay. I'm going to set that right here. Because if you fry it with no coating or breading on it, this is what you'll get, and it will completely stick. So to avoid you guys having a disaster like I just did, I think we're going to go ahead and just put it in the cornstarch. Once we have it completely covered, I'm going to take it, place it on the side. I got to clean up my hands a little bit. So I'm going to check to see if my oil is hot. And I'm going to look up and smile. Because I am very, see that? That's, yeah. Okay? So I'm going to check to see if my oil is hot. I think we have a little bit of something happening in there. Yeah, yeah, we do. We do. Okay? So I'm going to place my tofu in. Okay? And I'm going to clean up my mess real quick. And while we were on our little TV commercial break, I did a couple of different things. So I have my spinach that I sauteed in the bowl. I have my whole wheat egg McMuffins ready to go, so I can kind of part them and get them toasted. And I pulled my vegetables out, so we have some nice grill marks on our roasted eggplant and mushroom portobellos. and I have my ham on the side. So I had a lovely assistant today that came in to help me out. So he separated my egg yolks and my egg whites completely. He's back there putting his thumbs up. So in my bowl, I have my egg yolks. So I have my tofu frying, and I'm going to let it start getting brown, and we're going to flip them over. And I have a pan of a pot of water. That's it, nothing in it, no salt, no oil, nothing. And I have my 5 egg yolks right here. So I'm going to show you guys how to make the hollandaise sauce. So I'm going to sit my pan, my bowl right on top, and I'm going to whip. And as I'm whipping, it's going to start cooking the egg yolks. And I have a clown in the background. Now you have to be very careful with this part because the yolks can start to scramble like eggs. So you have to keep it moving at all times. Now that my water has bubbles in it, I'm going to go ahead and turn the flame off. Actually, I'm going to turn both of my flames off because I had 2. And I'm just going to keep whipping. And if you notice that the eggs are starting to change colors, and you want to make sure you keep it moving. And you want to add air. So you'll see the bubbles starting to form. And we're cooking the egg yolks. So because the water is so hot, we really don't need to have the flame on. And this is where I get really great, because I'm going to do 2 things at one time, because I need to flip my tofu. You cannot take a break while you are making hollandaise. Any emulsion sauce, you cannot take a break. So I'm going to have to use my left hand, and I'm going to flip my tofu. Now, because I cannot use a spatula, I'm going to use my fingers. I know you guys might be a little grossed out, but I really need to flip this. Like that. There we go. So we have it looking like a little bit like a soft pancake mix. So we're going to add a little bit more. And there is a fine line between overcooked hollandaise sauce and not cooked enough. Okay? Give me a break. So I have some clarified butter that I'm going to put in a minute. Because I like to start cooking my egg first and then add the butter. So we're getting lines here that takes longer to get back. So that's how we know we're making progress. And I need to flip my tofu again on the sides. So if you notice, it's starting to get like a pale yellow. And you see I'm starting to clean the bottom when I whisk. And that's how we know we're making progress. Now when I get a nice ribbon like that, it's there, but it's not quite there. I need it to be a complete stream. And I'm sorry I'm making so much noise, but I can't help it. And if your arm gets tired, you can take a break by switching to the other arm. And you will have a mess like all that right there. Sorry, there we go. We have that complete stream. So, my hollandaise is almost finished. Okay, so for the hollandaise, I have some clarified butter, and I have a little bit of lemon over there sitting next to my vegetables. So I'm going to add a little bit of butter at a time, because if you add too much, you might not be able to emulsify it correctly, and then you're going to whip until it comes one cohesive paste again. And if you have it thick like this, you can just take a spoon, add a little bit of hot water, and then help loosen it up again. Add a little bit more of a clarified butter. And this is our hollandaise. Okay. Through the magic of TV, here we are again. So I have my whole wheat English muffins. I have my portobello cat. I have my eggplant. I have my sauteed spinach. I have my fried tofu that I had to fix because we had a little difficulties. I have my ham slices, and I have my whole ham steaks. And on my hollandaise, I added a squeeze of lemon and a couple of dashes of hot sauce or Tabasco. And I'm going to add a few little pinches of salt. Then you can add as much hot sauce as you like. It's just up to you. I have my poached eggs that we made earlier. So I'm going to place an egg on top of everybody. Now if you poach your eggs early and they get cold, you can just dip them right back in the water for a minute or two. And they will have a chance to heat right on through. So we're looking good, looking good. Make sure everybody's all nestled in there. Nobody rolls away. I will sauce my vegetarian and my tofu. So those are my 4 classic versions, my versions, of Eggs Benedict. So we had the fully vegetarian, we have the vegetarian with tofu, we have the ham, and we have the bacon, and we have the spinach. And if you want to spice it up, you can just add a little bit of spinach to either one of them. Because I have a little bit of spinach left, so you can add that there. Add your egg, and make sure that doesn't fall. And then I'm going to smile, because everybody's yelling about me smiling. And we can toss that one that way. And this one we can keep plain. There we go. Everybody's completely happy, completely sauced, and completely sucking up all my flavor that I've built throughout each of these endeavors, because they were a little difficult and I encountered my roadblocks, but we made it through to something that's great, delicious, and very, very, very healthy for you. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully you'll come back and join me again, and I'm going to smile.